For Your Eyes Only was released in 1981 and sees a dramatic change in tone compared to Roger Moore's previous Bond films. After reaching dizzying new heights in space, the only direction was back down to Earth in a more hard-edged outing, and it's all the better for it. Bond is tasked with the mission to retrieve a missile command system called the ATAC, which was sunk off the coast of Albania under mysterious circumstances. Trying to stop the device from falling into the wrong hands, he eventually becomes entangled between the rivalry of two Greek smugglers. Bond is also joined by archaeologist Melina Havelock after her parents were murdered in a related attack, who is set out for her own mission of revenge. For Your Eyes Only strips back the excessive nature of Moonraker and returns to Bond's roots, a move which can mainly be attributed to director John Glenn. He'd long been part of the series, serving as second unit director and editor for On Her Majesty's Secret Service, The Spy Who Loved Me and Moonraker. His promotion to director was a shrewd choice by Cubby Broccoli. The film's direction benefited from an editor's eye. Everything moves at a swift pace and ties together neatly. For once, there's no obvious display of sped up footage or jarring cuts. The film's grounded nature certainly makes for a refreshing change compared to its predecessors, and takes its plot points from much earlier Bond films instead. The ATAC is just a MacGuffin in the same way the Lector was in From Russia With Love, and Glenn's connection to On Her Majesty's Secret Service is evident too. Both feature a tuxedoed Bond minus the jacket in a beach attack, and finale in which a group assaults the villain's base. Whilst these similarities and many others greatly benefit the film, they do leave For Your Eyes Only slightly lacking of its own identity. We all know Goldfinger for its laser scene, or The Spy Who Loved Me for Jaws, but For Your Eyes Only is mostly known for just being gritty and different to Roger Moore's other films. Perhaps that's too harsh on an otherwise rock-solid entry, for the most part. What the film does, it does very well, aided by a lack of cheap gags and over-reliance on gadgets. The self-destruction of the Lotus is only too symbolic of this, and sets the theme for the entire film. Bond has nothing to fall back on. Nerve-impulsed wrist guns and saw-blade watches are replaced by crunching pistachios and good old-fashioned rope knots. It's a test of wits and training which makes Bond far more believable as an actual spy, despite the fact everyone still knows who he is.
Just tell me where he is.
I'm here, Mr. Bond of the British Secret Service.
It's much like the techniques Bond used in Dr. No, only this time they had the budget to do some great stunts too. Though they're less embellished than before, For Your Eyes Only features some great action scenes with the seal of quality you'd come to expect from Eon. Unlike Bond, not everyone has a sports car at their disposal, which is why the Citroën 2CV chase is so good as it bounces its way through the Spanish hillside. It flips the Bond formula on its head and leaves both the audience and Bond surprised. The climactic assault on Christatos' mountaintop monastery is perhaps the highlight of the film, as Bond scales the rock face to the summit. It's an incredibly simple scene that plays on people's acrophobia and oozes tension that the series so desperately needed. John Glenn himself has said, "We wanted to make the new film more of a thriller than a romp, without losing sight of what made Bond famous, its humour. And despite the seriousness, the jokes are still there. Fortunately, humour is done much more tastefully than before, subtler in nature."
I don't think your Uncle Harry would approve.
Him? He thinks I'm still a virgin.
Yes, well, you get your clothes on. I'll buy you an ice cream.
Though actually, the subtle comment only holds true if you ignore both the very beginning and the very end of For Your Eyes Only. As good as the film is, it's bookended by two awful sequences. At long last, Bond's marriage is addressed properly, only to transition into an awful battle against a Blofeld but not quite Blofeld character, due to legal reasons. Kevin McClory was in the process of creating his own Bond film, and the sequence was a symbol from Broccoli that he would remain successful despite McClory's control of Spectre. The ending with Margaret Thatcher also painfully dates the film. For Your Eyes Only's stark contrast is both its blessing and its curse. The thrilling but quieter entry is lost among its more bombastic neighbours, which leaves it unnoticed by many, and perhaps slightly bland in comparison. At the time, however, it performed strongly at the box office, grossing just below Moonraker in terms of revenue. And with a rival production soon to be released, the next film had to be good enough to win the Battle of the Bonds.
Now describe the person you wish to identify, and I'll program the information.
Male Caucasian. Not a banana cue.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Lips fuller. Eyes a little smaller.
Uh-huh.
No. Mouth wider.
Uh-huh.
That's it. You have it. That's him. That's our man.
Right. I'll try and get a match.